Good evening, all of you. Welcome to our show. Today, our topic is life and environment. We have eminent guest here, Professor S. Narayan, the chairperson, and Professor Krishna Raj from Bangalore. So, basically, the topic life and environment deals like how our lifestyle changes can improve the environment and thereby the climatic changes, the drastic changes we see in the climate. So today we start a topic with the chairperson, Professor S. Narayan. Sir,
Okay, thank you. One
welcome,
thing
sir.
which I would like to add is that Professor Krishna Raj is a well-known economist of the country, and he has a grip on the uh, policy plan programs of the country. For most of the things, he is associated with government, state government as well as government of India, and he is with the Society of for Empowerment from day one. So we are very much thankful to him that he always comes on a short notice with us, and he is always supporting Society for Empowerment. So with these words, I welcome Professor Krishna Rajji and also to this Dr. Sharmishta. And as far as the theme of today is concerned, the day-to-day life, what we are seeing that the days are becoming very, very difficult. If you are living in city like Bangalore or Delhi, in evening, if you cannot walk on foot on road, it becomes very difficult to because you are not inhaling only oxygen, but with that you are inhaling so many things which may create a lot of health hazards. So that is there with all these. Our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has said that maybe few months back he asked for a policy, and the policy is drafted in that which it has been said that the in India, in Indian culture, we are recycling the environment and ecology, and accordingly the environment and ecology are behaving with the human being living in India. So it can be a good example for global platform how we the Indians are recycling the ecology and environment. That is a great question and a great example for the whole world. What we do that when we say that we are recycling the ecology and environment means we go for natural cultivation. Natural cultivation means you can say organic cultivation also, that we use only those things in agriculture which are natural, and where we do not have any pesticides or any other things to be used in uh, agriculture, agriculture purposes in producing wheat or paddy, which has a deterrent impact in on our life. That is one thing that we should remember. Likewise, for drinking water in rural India, or we find that only well is there, and people are drinking well, and for that, the villagers are very prompt and take care that their well should not be disturbed, and they must get pure, safe drinking water. So that is, and we are not having that bottled water, or say somewhat water which we are in urban India, we are drinking those waters. And for if you look the sky in Delhi or maybe in Bangalore, you will not be able to see with your eyes the sky properly, the clear sky that you will seldom see. in the city like Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore, but in rural India, in villages, you can clearly visit. The skies are visible. You can see. That is again the impact of the environment and ecology. So that for that we have our habit uh, from childhood, which we have been taught that nature is taught. We have we worship sun, we worship tree, and for tree we have a lot of association. Uh, Most of the god and the deities are identified with the tree and with the mm, leaf and branches of the tree. All kind of god and goddesses are symbolized. So our policy also needs to consider this recycling and our old habits and our old association, ancient association with ecology and environment needs to be considered while drafting policy for preservation and promotion of the environment and ecology. That should be our priority, and just possible that many of the experts may not agree with me, but this has been found and mentioned by the Honorable Prime Minister in his inaugural address a few months back on ecology and environment. I think that the certain steps are required to be considered for balancing ecology and environment with the human life. How a human life can make ecology, environment a better way so that human being can live in a better way and can have a good life instead of running from pillar to post for oxygen as we saw in COVID-19 period, or for that we should try that we must not have such crisis of nature uh, in our life. Our life must be very simple, and it should use the natural products. The nature's gift is something great and very important for survival of the human being. So with these words, I will request Professor Krishnaraj ji to throw light on ecology and environment and sustainability of ecology and environment in the interest of the mankind. Professor Krishnaraj ji,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind introduction and also welcoming me to this online seminar on life and environment. Just a minute, I would like to share my presentation.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
Madam, how much time is available for me? Shall I take 15 minutes?
Yes, 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 you can take 20 minutes, 25
I
minutes.
am unable to hear you, Madam Sir, Mister.
You can take
You.
25 minutes
Sir,
or 30 minutes.
you can, yes, sir, you can take more than 20 minutes, sir.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you
Yes, sir.
see
Sure.
my present? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add it to stream, sir. Just one minute. Sir, is it okay, sir?
Oh, yeah, please add it.
Yeah.
So, so now it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yes,
visible,
it's
sir.
coming.
Okay. So I always uh, seeks blessings from Professor Narayan, and he's always interested to bring some of these contemporary issues which are need to be discussed in detail by the experts, and the same has to be reached to the general public as well as, if possible, to the government of India and other states. So he has been highly concerned about the society and concerned about the some of the challenges the society has been facing, particularly with regard to environmental degradation. So we have been witnessing economic development at the same time. On the same lines, we are also witnessing the drastic degradation of environmental resource base. So some of these resources, they are beyond carrying capacity. It means that they are behind repair, or we can recover them. That is the situation we have reached, a critical stage we have reached. So one of the critical stage we have reached in the sphere of climate change. So climate change has become a challenge, a new challenge for the world, especially for the developing countries, which still they are on the process of making economic development for everyone. So, in this context, I would like to throw some light on where we are heading, how we can face these challenges effectively, and come out with some possible solutions. If governments adapt these policies very effectively and implement them on time, in time, then there may be some changes we can expect. So one of the issues I'm going to discuss is that the loggerheads between the development and also environments. So actually, these should be mutual, and they should exist together, and each should help each other uh, sustain on the earth. So that means that development should help environmental conservation, and also environment should help economic development, so that both can coexist, and life on earth and life in environment should be more conducive to live on the earth. So the best example would be the way the Bhutanese economy is uh, uh, undergoing uh, a definition where they give more importance to happiness of the people rather than a materialistic growth of the economy. So the economic development of Bhutan and the definition they adopted is completely different from the Western or even Indian economic developmental path we have chosen. So, so we can visibly see how developments can be pursued based on the perception, based on the based on the views, based on the requirement of the people, of the people. So ultimately, development is for people, for the people, by the people, and to the people. So therefore, whatever development the governments they pursue, it is ultimately to enhance on the one hand the welfare, the resource base that should be available for the both present as well as future generation. So, in this regard, the developmental path, the developmental policies the governments are adapting needs to be reviewed over a period of time, given the present challenges. So, so especially if you look at the economic growth models or economic growth theories or developmental theories, the economist wielded the extraordinary power of ideas, because today we are having the world which is so rich, rich in the sense that economically we are so rich in terms of per capita income, in terms of GDP. So the whole world is almost close to 100 trillion US dollar economy, and so everyone is prospering. At the same time, the world is also divided in terms of economic or income inequality. That is a different issue where the economic policies, how they have failed, need to be understood. But the issue is that the economists have got extraordinary power of idea that have changed the world, that have ruled the world economies in the last several centuries, especially after the World War II. These are some of the policies that have been adopted that have shaped and swayed the world economies. So evidently, for last 7 decades, after 1950s, where after that the countries have become independent from the erstwhile British regime, and they have been prospering, and we have reached the stage that uh, the world is so divided in terms of the rich and the poor, haves and have not, the materialistic possession of wealth. Further, this has created a two categories or two types of world. One is with abundance, another one is the squalor or poverty. So, if you look at African countries, still poverty exists en masse. Whereas in case of European and North America countries, American countries, the world is so rich. So these economic policies have created these type of world where the abundance also exists, apart from the poverty also exists. The economic growth was tremendous, which improved the life drastically, living conditions drastically, and also created a unequitable and unsustainable economies, as the cost of living are increasing tremendously in recent years. So this clearly shows that the idea of economists are both, they are right when they are wrong. It means that some of these policies, they might be looking right, but at the same time they are wrong. So so we have come to that stage today because some of these economic policies, which were embraced, agreed, and was shaped as the one of the best policies for economic development, the same policies have been now uh, being questioned, and they have been creating lots of problems. That is called neoliberal economic policies under capitalism. These policies have drastically improved the lives of certain sections of the people. At the same time, they have created lots of problems to everyone. So even though the some sections of the community, some sections of the society enjoy the fruits of economic development, but in turn, the whole society is facing a crisis like environmental problems. So in this context, the world economies are the world economies are facing several problems. that constantly worries us, as they have challenged the we human well-being and sustenance on the earth because of the drastic degradation of environmental resource base. The big question before us is that whether we aspire this type of growth and development. This is the big question we ask. So whatever development we have achieved, did we aspire for such development? Did we aspire for this type of well-being? So this question needs to be asked to the government, because they are the policymakers. They implement the policies of economists. So what economic policies are required by the people? These are never been asked to the people. Even though we are living in a democratic country, when policies are being implemented, so these type of questions are not being asked in the at the um, by the policymakers. So they did not go to the people, and they did not ask the people to uh, make economic policies or any other policies, welfare policies. If one looks at carefully the economic doctrines or theories of both classical and neoclassical economists, these theories have been developed heavily based on the economic models they have developed. These economic models basically they depend more on four important factors of production, that is called land, labor, organization, and entrepreneurs or capital, etc. So they more important capital, they attached the more importance has been attached to capital in the growth theories, economic theories. So it means that the financial capital or physical capital or the man-made capital that plays an important role for economic development. So that has resulted in negligence or even uh, not considering other factors of production in economic development process, including the environment, the land, the water, the climate, even the human resources, for example, health, education, etc. So these economic theories under capitalism, they strongly believe on one thing, that is called the capital, the investment, the saving. So that has been attached more importance. As a result, the welfare has been confined to the materialistic well-being, that is uh, accumulation of wealth, accumulation of materials, accumulation of gold, accumulation of money. So this has become a mantra of economic development under capitalism. This is the only source of economic development. This is the narrowed way of understanding economic development. It is completely a departing from the way the people have lived on this earth for several centuries. They depend on the earth on a sustainable basis. Even Mahatma Gandhi said, the nature has everything to meet the needs of the people, not the greeds of the people. So the capitalist economy has attached more importance to the greed rather than the need. So this has been the policies of all the governments under liberalization, globalization, and privatization, that has created a two types of world. On the one hand, it has created economic inequality or income inequality. Another one is that environmental crisis or degradation. We can call it environmental crisis because in recent times you might have seen in Uttarakhand, the whole village is the land is going down. Land subsidence, you can see. Uh, um, this is how the environment is responding to the economic development or growth or whatever development we see in recent times. Even Ganges, one can recall, where the water resources even today they are not being cleaned up. Even though we worship, even though we call it as a holy river, but still we can't uh, uh, recover that cleanliness of the holy river. So the neoclassical economists, in this way, they use mathematical tools, techniques, theoretical models which divide off empirical science or fail to explain the actual economy, actual requirement of the people, what actually people need. So as a result, the economic policies pursued in the last 7 decades, especially after the Second World War, are completely against the will of the people and also will of the planet. So they are completely against the will of the people and will of the planet, that has resulted in this environmental economic crisis. And economic crisis is basically due to the economic cost of climate change, which is imposing high cost on the economy. The governments have to incur a huge cost for recovering the resources and enhancing the resources, and also mitigating the climate change and adapting the climate change. They use amount of financial capital is required. On the other hand, the governments have to incur a huge losses due to uh, emergence of some of these uh, unknown diseases like COVID-19, and they have created a uncertainty, risks and uncertainty throughout the world. So, in this context, the contribution of natural capital has been completely ignored, and even today it has been ignored in various policy circles. So, so I took up a challenge. I took up this issue as a research study, how economic and environmental policies can converge, and that can help in sustainable development, rather than the economic policies and environmental policies should not diverge. So economic policies always help in enhancing the resource space. At the same time, environmental policies support economic development in such a way that the resources of the people, resources of the country can be equitably distributed among the people, so that everyone can live happily. So that is called equitable distribution of resources. So in this context, I would like to explain some of these. There are some noise is coming, Professor Narayan. Can you
Hmm.
avoid?
Okay. Okay.
So in this context, I would like to throw light on recent policies adopted by the government of India with respect to uh, long-term low-carbon development policies. So India, as usually, submitted its first nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement uh, to the United Nations uh, Finance and Climate Change, UNFCC. So the submission of intended national determined contribution is mandated as per the Article 4, Paragraph 9 of the Paris Agreement. In that agreement, every country which is under agreement, they have to submit how they are addressing the climate change, how they are come out with some policies in terms of mitigation and adaptation. So the government recently, August 2022, has submitted its policy, and according to this policy, it states that each party shall communicate a nationally determined contribution every 5 years. So under COP26, the government has agreed it has committed also to achieve a net zero carbon dioxide emission by 2070, and it also anticipates dollar 1 trillion climate finance from the developed countries. And as for my own study on financing of climate change, there is a complete gap in announcement and also implementation of these climate finances, the flow of climate finance to developing countries. So, therefore, the world has missed many targets in the past, and the achievement of these targets are unrealistic given the financial conditions or given the financial situation. In fact, India's global share of CO2 emission has increased from 3% in 2000 to 7% in 2016, with the annual average growth rate being 4.7%. It means that the consumption of the fossil fuel has increased. As a result, the carbon emission has also increased in India. It is increasing on an annual basis, just like China. But on the other hand, India is committed to bring the carbon dioxide to net zero by 2070. So this creates an a issue, or what you call it as a paradox, where on the one hand the government wants to achieve this target, on the other hand there are no policy support or anticipation of income from the developed countries. This has created a vacuum in realizing these type of policies. So therefore, I call it as it is a biggest public policy challenge in 21st century, because on the one hand we have to realize economic development for millions of people. Even 50% of the Indians are very poor. Their aspirations are very high, economic developmental aspirations are very high. On the other hand, India wants to achieve 5 trillion economy, and by 2040 or 20 uh, by 100 years of India's independence, it wants to achieve some 12 trillion or 20 trillion uh, US dollar economy. That challenge that challenges the sustenance of the environment, given the state of environment in India. Yes, Professor Narayan has mentioned almost all the cities are being polluted. The resources available, including water, per capita water availability, has been declining rapidly, and the forest resource degradation is very high. So the land for economic development and other development needs are very high. But still, India, on paper at least, it has committed to achieve net zero carbon dioxide emission by 2070. Another important the announcement by the government is that lifestyle for environment. So, among eight commitments, long-term low-carbon development policies, one of the commitment is that to put forward and further propagate a healthy and sustainable way of living based on traditions and values of conservation and moderation, including through a mass movement for life. That is lifestyle for environment, lifestyle changes for environment as a key combating climate change policy. So, what does it mean? So, the government of India aspires to achieve this lifestyle changes for environment on the one hand as a now to honor the commitment of the Paris Agreement. So, by on the other hand, to adopt a climate-friendly and cleaner path than one followed hitherto by others at corresponding level of economic development. Uh, uh, So it wants to change the path of economic development on the other end. So lifestyle changes means that, so we are wedded with market economy on the one hand. On the other hand, we are asking the people not to buy, not to produce the goods and services which are against environment, which are not
So,
environmentally friendly.
Professor Krishna Raj,
Yes.
sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. In case you have to wrap up fast, sir, we are passing out of time.
Okay,
Hello?
within a few minutes
Please,
I'll
sir.
stop, madam.
Yes, yes, sure,
Yeah,
sure, sir.
yeah.
You can sum up, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. So therefore, these type of issues are very, very uh, challenging to adapt on the one hand. They are at the policy uh, level, but they are very difficult to adapt because given the economic developmental challenges we have right now. On the one hand, we have to achieve $5 trillion US economy, $5 trillion US economy on the one hand. On the other hand, we have to ask for the people to change their lifestyle, and that will not go in line. It means that they are not on the same road. They are on different roads. So therefore, this has to be understood properly by the government that uh, unless we change the economic policies, the lifestyle of the people for the environment will not change. So still, if you continue the market based or market dependent economy, it supports the investment. It supports the making of money through the selling and buying of shares without putting hard work, which is against the principles of Gandhian philosophy also. Without doing hard work, one cannot make money. So that is equivalent to stealing. So in this way, we are in a developmental paradox. On the one hand, we have to make economic development that is available, that is needed for the 50 millions of people. On the other hand, we have to protect the environment, and the India is facing a developmental policy challenge in this context. Therefore, it needs to address it properly. Just announcement in the policy will not help. How to bring lifestyle changes within the market-based economy is a big challenge. I'll stop here. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Krishna
Thank you
Raj ji.
so
You
much,
have
sir.
very correctly you have raised the question that merely change in lifestyle is not going to make much ahead uh, in minimizing uh, carbon emission. For that, we also need a lifestyle change suiting policy, which
Yes,
is absent at the moment. So
yes,
the focus should be that, okay, fine, lifestyle movement for change for environment and ecology is good enough, but we need to recast the policy of environment and
policy.
ecology. Taking this into consideration, we think that the government will act on it. If not, we will again talk to government that you need to follow it. So thank you very much for your very meaningful, useful presentation, and I am sure that the viewers must have been benefited by it. Now the semester,
Yes, sir. I'm there.
please.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, I would like to present my view on life and environment from through a small presentation. I view this from a biomedical anthropologist point of view. Exactly, I'm not into what are the policies and all, but I see is what exactly life and environment deals now, what we are facing from, the challenges we are facing today in today's world, and what the future generation can face. So I'll start my presentation is just small, sweet, and crisp. So for me, life means lifestyle for environment, how we can change our lifestyle for a better environment. Now I see life and environment are the two sides of the same coin. If we try for a better lifestyle, but at the same time we have to see how we can save the environment. So they are basically the two sides of the same coin, and it is observed as the environmental degradation and climatic changes which we are facing today in the world, the global phenomena, the various movements across this, are due to the various odd lifestyles which we are leading. In case we can have a little shift in the lifestyle, we can definitely get back, we can definitely have a better future. Now, these are some of the pics which I have taken out for the what we see as environmental degradation related to our lifestyle. You can easily see in the first pic we have a smoky, the sky. The smokes coming out from the factories and all. It is causing air pollution. The forests are burnt, deforestation, the water bodies, they are dumped with all debris. You have burning of the jungles for clearing of land for building up all the multi-story buildings and all. At times, due to the global warming, the land is dried and there is deficit of rain. So this is all the phenomenon or the consequences of global warming, and we are facing this everywhere. The pollution because of the cars, buses, traffic, and this is leading again to air pollution. So these are a little bit some of the pics which I could pick up, the environmental degradation, which in case we have a change in our lifestyle, can come back to a better way of survival, because if this continues, it is very hard for our future generation. Now, why we have taken up this topic as life and environment or life for environment? Several attempts have been made for implementation of various policies and programs. Our government, Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, he had come across with various different programs, to address the environmental degradation. Yet the level of action required for life and environment towards the environment, it cannot be just like we are giving some policies or we are proposing something and it will change. No, we ourselves have to change at the individual level, the communities, institutions, we all have to come forward. Though we have lot of programs, we can have lot of policies, the government can try its best level, but until and up till we at the individual or the community or the institution take up this as a challenge, it is hard for us to get a change in the environment, and as it is going to create an adverse effect on the climate. It is therefore expected that the individual or the community behavior towards environmental sustainability can only make a progress if we see as a better environment. As an individual, as a society, if we try to progress, then at least we can see some changes in the society. Now, which are the environmental issues we are facing now? Definitely due to the chronic scarcity of water. Now, an average person in the world uses around 2.5 liters of water in a day for brushing, bathing, utensils, laundry, etc. So, in future, we can have some environmental issues related to chronic water supply. We can have scarcity of drinking water. It's definitely different from what we see in the Pacific Oceans and all. We are talking about the fresh water. We will have a scarcity of fresh water because average person uses so much of water daily for our daily needs. Now, NASA also claimed that atmospheric carbon dioxide, which was now it is 300 parts per million in the last 800,000 years, and currently it has gone up to 450, 420 ppm. That means the amount of carbon dioxide which has been released is much more than that what it was before. So this is one of the, you can say, air pollution giving rise to global warming. As a result, you can see because of this, the ice sheets across the Himalayan ranges or maybe many other mountains, you can even see Atlantic and all, they have just degrading. In the past 4 decades, you have seen they have shrunk, they have come down. And as a result, you can see the global sea water are increasing by 2100. We will be having 2 to 6 feet higher global sea water. That means the land is going down. We are getting drowned. So this is all due to the issues of the global warming caused by air pollution, water pollution, and many more things. So this is not stopped. definitely we are going to face a very bad future. Now, what we think India's approach towards the life and environment is much eco-friendly, because our approach, we are ground as an anthropologist. I've studied many research papers. We are groundly rooted to culture, and our culture, it supports environment, it supports the way we try to save our, even gods and goddesses. What we say, we are all environmental related. So we try to worship our environment. For example, we can say our government has taken up many policies, such as we have Swachh Bharat mission, Govardhan scheme, Give It Up campaign. Now, in all this, in Swachh Bharat mission, we are trying to keep up the country clean, and thereby we are trying to have a little bit upgradation in the upgradation in the environmental process, so that it can affect, positively to the climatic change. Another we have is Govardhan scheme. It deals with the safely managing of the cattle waste, agricultural waste, organic waste in rural areas. How we can recycle them, how we can recycle the waste, and how we can make them into fertilizers for a betterment of a mankind. And that itself can be done at the grassroots level. So these are some of the policies which have come up. Again, we have Give It Up campaign. Now, this is a voluntary distribution of the LPG gases for the rich people who have more cylinders, and if they give up one, those can be deliberately given to the rural people who really pollutes themselves by cooking in wood, dung, etc., and thereby leading to smoke or air pollution. So these are the some of the practices which the government is desperately trying to uplift India towards, for a betterment of future in the environment. And apart from that, India's culture and heritage have the people of the world in an astonishing position, because we are very eco-friendly. We use machines only when we need. Even when we see we have a washing machine, what we do, we take out the clothes and we try to dry it up in the sunlight. So we are trying to save up the energy, consuming energy, what the foreign countries do, contrasting to us for using dryers and all that. Even we see we have a maid, as we have in a house. I'll tell her, better please wash the dishes and keep it, more than using the dishwasher and all that. So we are so eco-friendly, we are so down to earth, India. So we are trying to save all this, and definitely this is giving a positive effect on conservation of energy. So that's what I think from an anthropologist point of view, that we are very eco-friendly, we are very down to earth, and this is a very astonishing feature for the world to see. And that's how we are saving our, we are saving to consume our energy. Now, again, we can see, you can see in my house also, in most of the household, what we do when we have some food, we eat that, and then again we restore it with something else. We just don't throw it in the dustbin. So this is our nature, this is our culture. So restoring and reuse of bags, bottles, jars, and other items, even the clothes, when it is torn, we can try to make some beautiful quilts out of that. Rugs are made from old blankets, doormats from the jute sacks, etc. So we are one way we are trying to recycling. And similarly, in foreign countries or in other, high flats, we see recycling of water. Similarly, we are in India, right from the culture itself, we are trying to recycle all the stuff which we use. We just don't throw out and increase the, debris. And this is how again we are trying to save our environment. The people of India are so eco-friendly even today that the streets and public joints, you see, whenever you go for, outside, you see, even the public joints, they serve us food in small, that sal leaves. It's a style nowadays. And also the tea you can find in cooler. So this is again, we adapt ourselves to the eco-friendly nature. We try to adapt from our culture what exactly we can produce better for having a better environment, and we can give a better environment for the future generation. India has a history of customary lifestyle practices, saving the environment, thus protecting Mother Nature. These customs and practices need to be encouraged rather than replaced by modern technologies, of course. And this, in case, can bring about the attitude and behavioral change in the society. So, because what I feel, just by questioning the government, or developing policies, definitely government is trying our best level, but we need to change as an individual, we need to change as a community, and we need to change as an institution. Then only I think we can have a better environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Sharmishta.
Thank you, sir.
You have made a good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And I think by now Krishna Rajji has left. So is there any question from?
No,
Oh, no,
he
no,
is
he
there.
is there. So you find out, is there any question from the viewer side?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
We like to accept. Yes, sir. Any questions from the viewers, the people who are observing us online, and it was a lovely presentation, Professor Krishnaraj. We came to know what are the upgradation in the economy and how it is helping degrading us for the environment crisis and all. Thank you so much. Professor Narayan gave a wonderful presentation on how we can get some changes in the human nature for the welfare of our environment. We can deal with the environment crisis, and any comments from the viewers are most welcomed. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir, I don't think so we have any comment right now. Thank you so much, all the people who are watching online, and we really appreciate your, the way you appreciate us watching us. And thank you, Professor Narayan. Thank you, Professor Krishnaraj.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
so leave the studio. Shall I leave? Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,